Hello guys, kindly confirm if you're able to hear me. Okay, thank you, Milan. So, guys, sorry for the delay. Right, there was some issue with my laptop. Okay, now uh, before starting the session, okay, I'll tell you there are a few of the things that you should know. Right, how you can ask questions. Right, first of the thing. So right now we are going through this training using a platform which is called GoToTraining, right? That you can see on your screen, via which I'm sharing my screen. You are able to hear my voice, right? Now, if you have any queries, any doubts, anytime, what you can do is either you can raise your hand. Okay, guys, Praveen, you're not able to hear me. Guys, am I audible or not? Were you able to hear till now what I was telling you? Kindly confirm. Okay, so guys, one more thing that you should know, and the thing is that this platform, GoToTraining platform, it is majorly supporting my screen sharing. Right? Okay, so the major bandwidth will go towards screen sharing, right? And then the second priority, or not so much of priority, is the voice. So if the bandwidth drops either on my end or your end, the first thing that you're going to lose is my voice, right? Okay, so if the bandwidth loss is from my end, then everybody will face the issue, right? Everybody will complain that okay, they are not able to hear me. Or if the bandwidth issue is on your end, then you solely are not going to be able to hear me. Okay, now coming back to the point that if you have any queries, you have two options. You can raise your hand. There is an option of raise your hand where I can unmute you at a right moment and we can have a conversation, but that is something that we'll do at the least, right? Okay, second option is you can text me, you can drop a text in the chat box and I can read out your query and then I can answer you, right? So these are the two options for interacting. Feel free to use them, guys, right? Now, before starting uh, the Python session, let me tell you something about me. And for that, I'm going to open my LinkedIn profile. You can all get connected with me on LinkedIn. Just give me a sec here, guys. So I've paused my screen here right now. And in the background, which you're not able to see, is I'm opening Firefox. And on Firefox, I'm going to open uh, LinkedIn. Okay. Mhm. Just give me a sec here, guys. So guys, this is my profile. You can go through it, right? Now, I'm going to tell you about myself. So my name is Vidhan Bhosle, and I'll be your trainer for this complete duration of Python 3. Right? We should not call it Python 3.7. We should rather call it Python 3, right? Because I'll be showing you Python 3.8 also, some of the features, right? Okay. So I am basically an electronics and communication engineer, right? Who got out of the college in 2010. After that, I started working as co-Java developer in one of the company, right? And then sooner I had a neck of learning new things, exploring new things. So I got into Android application development. I learned it, and at the same time, I started teaching my co-employees or the new joinees, and even my company asked me to train or different companies on Android. Right? So that's how I got into training, right? Apart from that, after that, since I was from electronics and communication background, so I had a affinity toward hardwares, right? So I left that company after more than 2 years, and I joined one of the companies which was started by my friend. So we were working on the hardware parts also. Now, as I was working on mobile application development, so I also learned the website or the backend side and the website part of the development, right? Like PHP, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. So I was able to do mobile communication to mobile application to website communication, and then I learned how to integrate hardware. And in the process, I learned different languages, and one of the language that I learned was Python, and that was very much helpful because Python is Python, right? Okay, I'll tell you more about Python. So that's why I got into Python, and Python, with the help of it, I was able to solve a lot of issues in my projects, right? Like uh, basically optimization issues and synchronizations, right? Or using the same language for different components, right? So it became easier. And later on, I joined Cognitia as a SME for IoT or evangelist for IoT and Python. So right now I'm working with Cognitia. Right. So that's all about me. Okay. Let me check. Somebody has raised his hand. Okay. You can have a look and how it sounds like. Hi, Milan. You have raised your hand. Kindly tell us. You have any concern or query? Okay. So this is how it sounds, guys. So please be very careful while raising your hand. Right. Okay. Now, right now we have around 12 participants. I think the number is more than that. So a lot of people have not joined us. So ideally, I unmute all of you and ask for your information, but that won't be a good thing to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a notepad, right? Okay, and you have to provide me these information at once, right? Okay, so provide me uh, where you from, okay, your experience as in professional experience, and what's your expectation from this course. Okay, so guys, you can drop these information in the chat box and I can read it out for all of you, right? So I'm looking for where you're from, what is your professional experience, and what is expectation from this course. Okay, kindly tell me. Okay, while you're dropping your text, I'll tell you what I am going to teach you. See, we'll start. It's obviously we are going to start from the scratch, from the basic, right? Okay, and in the process, when we are going to build up or when we are going to talk about the examples or the use cases, I'm going to present the use cases regarding automating your task, right? Automation, right? And apart from that, a bit about the scripting or the how to read a log file, how to log or how to write a log file. Right? So these are the things that I will be concentrating on. Right? In a way, you can use it everywhere, anywhere in your work life. Okay, so that is what I am going to teach you. Okay, so all I can read is I wanted all these information at once, guys. Right? So all I can read is location, 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 location. Okay, I'll suggest guys write it out down on a notepad. Simply copy and paste it in the chat box, right? Um, okay. Okay, I think I can compile it now. Just give me a sec, please. Okay, so we have Dharmesh, who is from Anand, Gujarat. Right. Okay, let me see more information has it provided it. Yes, so Dharmesh has 8 years experience as a lecturer and 3 years of experience as CNC management maintenance engineer. Okay, and let me check what are the expectation of Dharmesh. So I didn't find. Okay, I didn't find any. Okay, yeah. So Dharmesh expect to be a Python developer, so that it will be helpful for embedded development. Okay. See, Python for embedded is still in the process, right? If you want to apply Python in say embedded systems or microcontrollers, so we have a version of Python which is called basically MicroPython, right? So it is still under the process of getting lighter. See, the problem with your Java and your Pythons are that they are too much heavy for your small, very small computers, right? But yes, Python has started doing progress in that field. We have MicroPython, but still MicroPython is not that light. It is not used on every of the platform, right? But yeah, in the future, it is going to be used. So yes, this course is going to help you out. Okay. Then we have Milind. Milind is from Pune. Right, let me see. And Milind has 4 years of experience. Let me check the expectation. Okay, scroll. So Milind expect to learn new technology. Okay, Milind. So Python is more of a not a new language. Right? It's quite old now. It's almost 30 years old language, right? But the implementation of Python is everywhere. So you can see that yes, uh, Python is opening a lot of new avenues for a lot of people, right? Okay, so we have Aditya who is from Baroda, right? And Aditya has 6 years of experience in sales, right? And apart from that, okay, we are yet to get the other part from Aditya expectation. Okay, after that we have Prashant. Prashant is basically from Navi Mumbai, and Prashant has 6+ years of experience. Okay, and okay, guys, I'm scrolling down because all the information is not together. Now, expectation of Prashant is being becoming an expert in Python so that it can be helpful in embedded in IoT. Okay. Uh, so embedded, as I have told you before, what is the scenario of embedded? In IoT, yes, Python is a lot more useful in IoT, guys. Uh, so if you talk about, say, working on IoT gateway, then these IoT gateways are mostly Linux machines, okay, or it has a Linux operating system. So yes, your go-to-go language for Linux is normally Python, because Python comes, you can say that with Linux, and Python handles all the packaging and depackaging in Linux, right? Okay, it's the language that we majorly use on Linux operating system for IoT. Apart from that, if you talk about cloud, excuse me, if you talk about cloud like AWS, so AWS you can do a lot of development using Python. So yes, cloud side also you can have Python. The only thing that will be lacking is the embedded side. You cannot use much of the Python for now. And on the application development side, especially mobile application development side, at that point you don't use Python. You use either for Android application development, you use Java or C, C++, or for iPhone application development, you use Objective-C or Swift. Right? So that is the only downside there. Then we have Venetia. She wants to learn Python for good career development. Okay, I'm still to find other information. Okay, Venetia, kindly drop. Okay, guys, just give me a sec here. Okay, after that we have Neeraj. Neeraj is from Bihar and he has 7 years of experience in networking and he just want to learn or start his career in development by learning Python. Right. Then we have uh, Aditya. He is a fresher and he is learning Python for data science. Okay, Aditya. So yes, Python is used in data science. Then we have Swati, who is from Navi Mumbai. Okay, let me scroll down and check what are the information that's provided. Okay, okay, so there's a lot of information. Uh, so, okay, Neeraj also want to use it for automation. Then we have Sagar, who is from Mumbai, who has 7 years of experience, and he wants to learn Python to upgrade his skills. Dharmesh especially wants to learn on Raspberry Pi. Okay, it does not matter with Dharmesh what is the platform you're using, but the commands are going to be same, right? Languages, especially Python. On Raspberry Pi, if you want to learn, then you should majorly concentrate on scripting, Unix, basically. Okay, or the terminal window in which that we give commands. Okay. Uh, okay, I'll tell you how to implement that in Raspberry Pi also. That won't be an issue. Then we have Prashant, experience in storage and embedded C, C++, and shell scripting, currently working at Capgemini. Okay. Okay, so Swati wants to learn automation or test automation using Python. Okay, Prashant want to use it in computer vision and AI platform. Then we have Vivek, right? Vivek Uttam is B from Electronics and Communication branch, has 13 years of experience in telecom, in RF planning and optimization for 2G, 3G, and 5G. Currently working with Geo, is JC network lead in Mumbai. Now his expectation is to learn Python and want to know how to implement it with 5G, IoT, and with new technologies and its use cases. Okay, implementation with 5G is will be majorly see when you talk about 5G, then it's mostly the all the telecom technologies are mostly closed technologies. Like you don't get much of the exposure unless until you're working on the in the company or on the hardware itself, right? Okay. But yes, you can do a lot of network management or network monitoring using Python. That is something that you can do. Okay. Then we have Satish. He has 7 years of experience in OS automation and customization OS of image and deploy using SCCM. Okay. Apart from that, we have Kuntal, who is from Kolkata, and he has experience of more than 15 years in telecom. He's working in Nokia, and he is undergoing this course to refresh his scripting. Okay, good. Okay, guys. Apart from that, we have Praveen. Praveen is from Bangalore. He has experience of 11 years in IT development expectation, and his sorry IT development, and his expectation is to be able to get hands-on knowledge in IoT domain. Okay, so this is what I think is like I have not covered all the participants, but yeah, mostly. Okay, so I understood, guys. What are your expectations? Okay, let me tell you a few of the things. Okay, so in this course, guys, we are going to start from the basic, right? Right from the scratch. Okay, and we are going to build on top of that. We are going to learn different parts of Python. But the major thing that we are going to do is when we are going to learn file operations and regular expressions. right? And that is where the major part of Python comes into, right? Whether you're talking about web scraping, whether you're talking about reading bigger log files, whether you're talking about automating your task, right? Okay, all those things comes under or handled by your file operations, right? You can automate your task of reading a file and then taking some data out of it and logging it somewhere, right? Or you can automate task of reading a log file and then taking some data out of it, right? So these are the tasks that we are going to majorly look into. Okay, and that will come at a, I think, second half of the course, right? Okay, first off will be uh, majorly dealing with the basics. Now, guys, I think all of you are aware about the content of the course. Let me open Cognitia's website. I'm looking for Python. Hey guys, so these are the content. So we are going to start with the introduction, and today is going to be all about introduction. Then we're going to, okay, setup is something that I'll tell you, or I'll give an option which ID you are comfortable with. It's totally up to you, right? Whether you want to go with the core distribution of Python, or you want to have something like PyCharm, or if you want to have a advanced distribution like Anaconda, it's totally up to you, right? I can show you working on all the three of these, right? Okay, after that we'll start with the basics. What are the data types and what are the collections, right? Okay, then your control structures, basically your if else, then your loops, for and while, then functions. Now functions will involve a lot of different things, right? Okay, like you have inbuilt function, how to use them, okay, then how to create your own function. Then the functional nature of Python, right? Python is object oriented programming. It also have functional nature. Here you'll learn lambda. Lambda is quite a powerful tool, guys. It cuts short your a lot of lines of code, right? It's a anonymous function, we call it, right? Then we'll learn how to use map, filter, and reduce. Okay, after that we'll learn how to use module, how to create a module, right? What is a module? What are the built-in modules? And then we'll come to file operations. Here we are going to talk about reading PDF, Excel sheets, and all. Right? I've not mentioned it here, but yeah, we are going to do that. Right? Reading data from a file and any sort of file, whether it is your normal text file, whether it is your PDF, whether it's your Excel sheet, right? Any file we are going to do that. Okay, and in the process we are going to understand exceptions and assertions, right? Errors, and lastly we have regular expression, and then we are going to combine all of those things that we have learned, and we're going to create a lot of use cases, right? Okay, that is what we are going to do. Any queries on this you have, guys? You can ask me. So it's almost 30 hours course, right? So we 3 hours into 10 is going to be 30 hours, right? 10 sessions. Any queries on this, guys? Yes, Prashant, you have raised your hand.
Yeah, good morning, Udan. Prashant
Good
here.
morning. Please
Yes,
tell us.
I want to ask. There is no mention of like object-oriented structures programming in like classes and all.
Yeah, because we are not going to use it. I can tell you about that, but see, the main concept of this program is to teach you automating your task, right? About scripting, about logging your data, reading from the log files, right? Okay, so we won't be needing to create classes for that, but yeah, I'll teach you that too. Okay.
Oh, okay, okay, thanks. Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, somebody had raised his hand. Kindly do it again. I had removed that. Please, any queries? Kindly raise your hand again if you have. So I have option of putting down the hand. Okay. Yes, Manisha.
Hello. Hi, Nishan. Good
Manisha,
morning.
there's a lot of
Actually,
background noise.
hello.
Yes, I'm able to
Hello.
hear you, but there's a lot of background noise on your end. Yes, please tell us.
Mm, Actually, uh, I am able to. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes, Vedant. I am telling that I am completely new to this Python, right? So
Okay.
it's my humble request to me to start with the basics. And how much time it will take? It will take 10 sessions, right?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm able to hear you. We all are able to hear you actually. Okay. I understood your concern. Okay, we are going to start from the basic only. No worries on that, right? Okay. Don't worry about it. Okay, guys. So if you are thinking that okay, we're not going to start from the basics or how we're going to cope up, don't worry. That's leave it on me. Right? You're going to start from the very basic, and then we are going to build on top of it. Okay, so I'll suggest you guys that instead of raising your hand and having conversation, which leads to a lot of confusion, especially with the background noise, right? And guys, everything is getting recorded, right? So you'll have that also on the record. Okay, I'll suggest that using textual query as much as you can. Okay, good. Now, let's start with Python. Now, Python, guys, is a programming language, right? You all understand that it's a programming language, but what do you mean by programming language? Anybody would like to answer? And you can drop text in the chat box. So, what is a programming language? I want to know your take on a programming language. Yes, that means that is what we're going to do. No worries. Okay, you are. I understand that you are not from a programming background. No worries. That won't be an issue. Yes, you can see that. Define the instruction to communicate to the devices. Okay, this Satish is saying this. Anybody else who would like to add something to this? What is a programming language? Okay, I'll give an example. So for human-to-human interactions, we have around 7,000, almost 7,000 live languages which are spoken all over the world, right? Okay, for our interaction. Okay, see, right now I'm using English, which is a language. Via that, we all are able to interact with each other, right? I'm able to speak that, you're able to understand that. Okay, and that's how we are interacting. So this language is a human communication language, right? And we speak all the time. Now, this is for human interacting with human. Now, consider a scenario where you have a machine and you want to instruct a machine or tell machine what to do. Right. See, if I want to tell you that, okay, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do that after that, right? I'll use any of a language, whether it's Hindi, English, Marathi, Bengali, Gujarati, any of the language. Now, if I want to do the same thing, if I want to instruct a machine, a computer that, okay, you have to do this, you have to do that, I cannot use English or Gujarati or Marathi. No, I cannot do that. Right? Okay. For them or for the interaction with the machine or for basically to tell machine what to do, we have special kind of a language which we call programming language. Okay. Understood? What is a programming language? Yes, it depends on is it high level, mid level, or low level. Yes, Harshal. Okay, so that is a programming language, a language that is used for interacting with a machine, or you want to interact with the machine. You are. you give some instruction, you write those instructions. See, when I tell you to do something, I am using my voice. But when you want to tell machine what to do, you cannot use your voice, right? You have to write it down on your computer. See, you want to tell your computer what to do, you have to write it down on your computer. Now, for doing so, you have around 500 very good options, right? Okay, options like you have Java, you have C++, you have Objective-C, you have Python, right? You have JavaScript, COBOL. There are so many programming language that we can use. Or in short, machine can understand these many languages for interacting with it. Right? So I can interact or I can give order to a machine using any of these language that you're seeing on your screen. Right? Okay, you must have heard about Java. Of course, you must have heard about C, C++. You must have heard about PHP, right? Nowadays, you'll see a lot of new languages like Golang coming into the picture, right? So this, guys, is a programming language. Now, to interact with programming language or to interact with a computer, right? I cannot speak, right? I cannot tell it that okay, do this or that. What I'm going to do, I'll have to use a window, right? Of course, I'll have to use a window. First of all, I'm going to code on my laptop, right? And then I'll have to use a window, right? Like a paper or a piece of a paper. Similarly, I need something, a program, which is basically where I can write in text writer, you can call it, right? Inside that, I can give all my instructions, okay? Okay, I can give instruction to the machine, what I want uh, machine to do, right? Okay, that is how we basically do it, right? Okay, now this text writer is what we call text editor. Okay, the text writer that I'm talking about is what we call text editor. Okay, and in a more language specific term, right, we call it IDE. That is integrated development environment or environment, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so these are nothing, these are just fancy term for writing your text, right? This IDE, which is the term that you'll use or you'll see or you'll hear a lot. That okay, for communicating with Python, for example, I can use a different IDE. Right? Obviously, for communicating or to express my thoughts in Python, right? Python is the language, right? For example, the programming language. Okay, I'll compare it with your normal life so that you get it more clearly. Programming language is Python. Okay, and let's say that other language is your normal language is English. Now, if you want to communicate with someone in English, what are the options you have? You can write it on a piece of paper. Right. Now, this paper, there are different types of paper. Okay, you can write it down. You can verbally tell the other person, right? Now, in programming language, you cannot verbally tell the other machine, right? You have to write it down, write it on computer. Of course, you'll have to write it on a computer because we are going to speak to the computer, right? Now, when you're writing in English, you can use any piece of a paper, right? But when you write it on a computer, you have to use basically something which we call text editor or text writer, right? Okay, so you can use Notepad, right? Notepad is a text editor that I have opened here. Okay, I can write my instructions for machine here, and same thing I can tell or I'll let my computer know. Okay, similarly you can use Notepad plus plus, right? You can use some Python specific editors like uh, PyCharm, right? You can use Anaconda editor, or basically you can use Spider. You have Jupyter, right? And there are so many other options. So these names, especially, see, these are the common names that you'll find everywhere, and it has multiple purpose, right? Notepad, you can use it for any purpose, right? You can save your text and all those things. But these last three names, your PyCharm, Spider, and Jupyter, they are specifically built for Python, right? They are specifically built for speaking with Python, or speaking with machine in Python as a language, right? So these are what we call IDE, Integrated Development Environment, right? Because they have Python integrated with them, and via that you can develop something. So they are providing you that environment under which you can develop your code, you can write your instructions, you can write your code, right? Speaking with machine using Python is what we call writing code. Okay, understood? Any queries here, guys? Please do let me know. Right? These are the very basic things. Vinisha, I'll suggest you use text, your chat box. Still, I'm going to unmute you. Please
I'm
tell me. Hi, Vinisha. Please tell us.
but I'm not able to hear any window for chat.
You're not able to hear what?
I'm not able to see any window to chat,
Okay,
or
you're
I'm
not
not
able
able to
to.
see any chat box. I don't see any chat box over here.
Okay. Okay, there's a lot of noise here. Okay, so guys, okay, I'm not sure what what is your view. Okay, do one thing. Do you have option like file or something like that, or option or view? Just go through it, and you should find chat in there. See, my view is different, right? Your user interface is going to be different, right? So I'm not sure what controls you have. Okay. Let me instruct support team to help you out, Vanisha. Just give me a sec, guys. Just give me a minute, guys. Okay, I have told support team they are going to contact you, right? Okay. Okay, so that is the reason that I'll suggest to use chat box more, right? Because of the voice, or make sure that you are not getting the sound. Okay, Manisha, I'm dropping a message here, hi there, and see if you're able to see this. Okay, you must be getting a call from the support team in a few minutes, a few minutes. Okay, yes, Manisha, your chat is open now. Okay, okay, so that is your programming language. Okay, now there are a lot of different programming language that we have, right? And if you talk about the best programming languages, then Python is right now on the top, basically, right? Apart from Python, you have Java. Uh, just a sec. Okay. So you have Python, you have Java, you have C++, C Sharp. Basically, there are almost 8 and 9 languages which are quite famous. Yes, Vinisha, you'll be needing to download a few of the tools for coding. Right. Okay, I'll tell you before the end of the session what we need as a tool for tomorrow's session. We'll be needing tools for tomorrow's session, as tomorrow we are going to start working on it. Right. So the most famous languages that you'll find these ones, right? So you have Python, you have Java, you have C, C++, right? You have Objective C, uh, you have Swift, you have JavaScript, you have C Sharp, which is basically your .NET. We use it for .NET, right? .NET is not a language, guys. C Sharp is the language, right? After that, you have PHP. Then the one language that is gaining a lot of popularity is Golang. Right. So these are the major languages which are quite famous. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. And every language has its own use, right? And respective fields. Now, how does it work, guys? Okay. So, for example, how does it work for us? Right? Is almost the same way. How it works for a machine also? Right. Okay. When I say how it works for us, what I mean by that is when somebody speaks to you, right, in English, right, and you hear it out, and your brain processes it and converts it into a format which is suitable for it to understand, right? Okay, so your language. See, suppose you can. We normally we as an Indians. Normally, we as an Indian, we can a lot of Indians we can read more than one or two languages, right? So say it is English or Hindi. What happens is you hear it from your ear and then your brain processes it and is able to convert that language into a logic, right? And on the basis of that logic it is able to process it, right? Similarly it happens with your computer also, or it happens with machines also, right? Okay, now for me to learn or for any normal human to learn any new language, how long is it going to take? Can you tell me? Say if I want to learn a new language, say if you want to learn, for example, German, how long it's going to take? Can you guess? 2 months. It depends on person's. You can say that uh, skills, right? How comfortable that person is learning, right, and practicing in all those things, right? So for us, learning new language is quite a tedious and long task, right? Now, if you want to teach a machine. See, Vinisha, there is some bandwidth issue on your end. Kindly check because everybody else is able to hear my voice. If you are not able to hear it, then the bandwidth issue is not on my end. It's on yours end. Kindly check that, please. Okay. Again, I'll tell you guys, if there's a loss or drop in a bandwidth, the first thing that you'll lose is my voice. Okay. Because voice is secondary on this platform. Screen sharing is primary. Okay. So all bandwidth is allocated for screen sharing. Okay, right. Now that is the complete time duration that you might take for learning German. Now, if I want to teach my computer a programming language, I want to teach my computer a programming language. How much time is going to take, guys? And what would I need to do? See, I want to teach my computer, say, Python. Okay, let's say that you want to teach your computer Python. Forget about you learning. First, your computer should know it, right? See, language is something that both the entities should know, right? Me and you. Otherwise, that's how we are going to speak. Otherwise, we won't be able to communicate, right? Okay. So first of all, I need to teach my computer Python. Now, how am I going to teach my computer Python? Anyone? See, I'm just connecting your daily life things with the uh, computer logics so that you have the clarity. Yes, Kuntal, exactly. See, for us, the process is tedious and long, right? We have to learn German, you have to learn their grammar, how to read it, how to write it, how to pronounce it, how each word means a different thing. It's a long process. But for a computer to learn a programming language, all they had to do is they have to download and install Python. That's it, right? For a computer to learn a new programming language, unlike us, we have to simply download it and install it, and your computer will be fluent with Python, right? Or any of a programming language. Okay, right, guys. So first thing first is that your computer has to download Python. Okay, so the option that I'll suggest is going to python.org. Okay, see, I'm talking about downloading a language, and go to this site, guys. Okay, I'm sharing this in the chat box. Okay, and here you'll see download, right? And here you have Python 3.7.3. Python 3.8 is out, but still it's not that stable. I'll tell you the difference between them, right? Right now, simply you have to download this, guys, right? And you have to install this. Now, how many of you are working on Mac or Linux? Please do let me know. Anybody of you, any one of you who is working on Linux OS or Mac OS, please let me know. Okay. So simply click on here, guys, for Windows, and it's a 24.2 MB of file. Simply save this file. You can do it later, not right now, right? Okay. Now this is your core distribution of Python, or this is the basic Python language, and this is the parent website of Python, guys, right? This is http dot your www.python.org. org. It's an open source. Okay. Right. So we have to download the programming language. Okay, that is what we're going to do. So once you have downloaded the programming language, what next then? Okay, what is the next thing that you're going to do? So guys, you downloaded the programming language. Next thing that you need to do is you need to see your once you have downloaded and installed the Python programming language. Next thing, your computer is able to speak Python, speak and understand basically. Okay, that is what your computer is able now, right? Okay, next thing you need to do is now you need to have a window through which you are going to speak Python with your computer, right? So that window is what we call editor, or basically your text editor, right? So you need your text editor. So we can use Notepad, but I'll suggest not to go with Notepad, right? Either I'll suggest PyCharm or I'll suggest Anaconda. Right. So these are the text editor. Yes, basically IDE. Yes, Neeraj. Text editor or IDE, integrated development environment. Okay. Either go for PyCharm or Anaconda. It's totally up to you. Right. Okay. So for those who are new, right, who does not have any prior experience with Python, right, I'll suggest going with Anaconda. Now, Anaconda, guys, is an advanced distribution of Python, right? When I say advanced distribution of Python, that means that it comes with Python as, see, it's a complete solution actually, right? It comes with Python as a language that you can download and install, right? Okay, okay. Now they have launched PyCharm for Anaconda. I didn't know that, right? Let's go to the download. Okay, now it comes with different text editor, right? Basically two text editor which are interesting. One is Jupyter, another one is Spider, right? Apart from that, there are a lot of different small very important libraries which are already present in the Anaconda, right? So it packages all those important things and it creates a package of around 600 MB, right? It's quite a big package that it creates. Okay, see, 600 MB, 542 MB for, okay, you have to download for graphical installer, right? Okay, so go to this link and you can download and install this. Okay, it's 637 MB. For those who want to uh, learn from the basics, right, or who are into data science and more of the uh, data science operations, analytics, all those things, right? Okay. Now, for those who are into, you can say that a lot more coding, a serious software development, who want to debug their code, who want to find out the errors, who want to introduce a lot of different things, then the best bet for them is PyCharm. Right? You have PyCharm also. PyCharm has basically 2 or 3 editions. So of course you'll have to download and install the community edition. Kuntal, PyCharm is light. Just a sec. Your Anaconda was 650 MB, PyCharm is 236 MB. If you want to go even lighter, then you have python.org, which was 26 MB. Okay. So let me tell you the differences, guys. Right. You can select according to your flavor. Right. And in the last, if you are not able to decide which one to do, then I'll decide for you. Okay. So you have python.org, which is basically language plus IDLE, which is the text editor. Its size is 26 MB. Okay, but this text editor does not come with any of a fancy user interface. It does not come with your auto fill the remaining text, remaining code, right? It does not give you hint. It does not give you anything, right? Now, if you want hint and all those things, right, you should go with PyCharm. So it's basically IDE, right? It's of 240 MB. When do you want hints or intelligent code completion, right? Good debugging. Debugging is, guys, finding the bugs, right? It's debugging, right? It's a self-explanatory name. Okay, and if you're into serious, I think software development, right, which is basically your application development, right? Serious app development, then you basically go for PyCharm. Then you have Anaconda, which is basically language plus IDE. Now IDE in this case is Spider is there and Jupyter is there. Okay, Dave, there is no audio. Okay, you have joined via mobile. Okay, Well, guys, any issues? Yes, Kuntal, PyCharm's community edition is completely free. If you go for enterprise, they are going to charge you. Right. So Anaconda comes with majorly two IDEs, which is Spider and Jupyter. Spider is good for your normal coding, right? Jupyter is good for your visualization, right? Data analytics, all those things, right? So if you want visualization, if you have big project on data science, right? Then your Jupyter notebooks plays a very good role, or your normal coding, then go with Anaconda. So guys, most of you who are new, and if you have space which is of 600 MB, I'll suggest you Anaconda. Guys, okay guys, let's do one thing. If you are able to install, download this, if you have this much space, then everybody guys go with Anaconda. I'll be able to tell you different flavors on this. Anything created using PyCharm can work on Anaconda. Sagar, your code is platform independent, right? So if you written the code, if there's not a lot of dependencies, then yes, you can simply use it in Anaconda. But recently, okay, let me share the link for PyCharm once, guys. Recently, I am also, I was not aware about this, that Anaconda and JetBrains have joined forces to launch PyCharm for Anaconda. So I think if you install Anaconda, you also get PyCharm in there, right? So that is going to solve your PyCharm issues also. So good thing will be if you install Anaconda. So now here I think PyCharm is also added. Okay. So the good deal will be downloading and installing Anaconda. It is going to solve you a lot of issues. Okay. Yes, Satish, you have any query? You have raised your hand. Kindly unmute yourself. Okay, not able to hear you. Okay, drop a text, Satish. Yes, Neeraj, you have any queries? Kindly unmute you yourself. So guys, you have to unmute yourself, right?
Yeah. So my question is, when we download Anaconda, we don't need to download anything from Python.org, right?
No, we don't need to. It comes with
Okay.
language and ID both. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. In fact, for PyCharm also, you don't need to nowadays. I'll have to make sure. If I think PyCharm earlier, PyCharm used to ask you to download Java, but now I think that dependency is covered in PyCharm distribution only. Like, PyCharm had one of the negative side that it asks you to download Java also, right? It has dependencies on Java, PyCharm, right? That is one of the things. Okay. So guys, I'll suggest you to go with Anaconda, right? Okay, start with Anaconda, right? And later on, if you want, if you have space, we can move to your normal distribution of Python. Okay, so get Anaconda, guys, and get this also. Now, Anaconda version that you have to get, guys, please see this. Kindly download version 3.7. Okay, so the version, guys, that you have to download is this. Okay, Python 3.7. And download and install it according to your needs, right? So it's going to be 64-bit graphical. Now, you have option for Windows, you have option for Mac, you have option for Linux. Okay, got it? Any doubt here, guys? Now, guys, make sure that your system is able to support this. So RAM should be at least 4 GB and processor should be at least i3. Right? Ideally, i3 4 GB should be good enough. Right? Just make sure that you have space also of around 2 GB for this Anaconda. Okay. Let's move. Apart from that, I'll also suggest you to download this code distribution. Right? I'll teach you both how to work on both. Okay, so that will cover all the three parts. Your PyCharm will be covered, your Anaconda will be covered, your core distribution of Python will be covered. Okay, I'll teach you how to set the path of the variables, how to run a standalone Python file while writing code in Notepad and all those things. Now, coming back to what we were doing. Okay, I think, okay. So guys, you were able to download and install Python. You got the text editor also, right? Next thing that you need to do is we need to write the code. Right guys, now code that we write, okay, there are a few things that we should know. Okay, somebody was unmute. So there's few things that you need to know. The code that you are writing is mostly in your understandable format. Right, of course, right. Machine cannot understand your language, English. Right, machine do not speak language which is called English. Can you tell me what language does machine speak? See, Python is a language, right? You understand that, okay? Python is a language that is basically a bridging language between me and the machine, right? Python is the bridging language, right? Okay, but see, I'll tell you how the flow is. Okay, I see this is me. If I want to interact with machine, this machine, I'll use Python. But machine basically does not understand Python. Machine speaks binary language. Okay, understand this, guys. It might look confusing, but kindly pay close attention to it. When I say binary language, then machine speaks zeros and ones. That is what your machine speaks, right? Binary language. You must have heard about this, zeros and ones. That machine only speak these language, right? Zeros and ones. So how come when I'm writing Python or when I'm writing code in Python, machine only understand binary? So what is happening behind the scene? So there's a lot of different things happening behind the scene, guys. So basically, when you are writing code, right, you're writing code in Python, right? And Python, when you write a code, you write in a certain file, and the extension of file is .py, right? In Python, whenever you write a code and you save that file, right, the format of that file is .py. It's you can compare it with your images. For images, we have format like .jpeg, .jpg, .png. Similarly, in programming languages, for Java, we have Python. We have file extension called .java. For C, we have .h, .ccp, or .cpp. Right? Okay. Similarly, for Python, we have file extension .py. So when we write .py in the end of the file, your operating system, your computer knows that, okay, this is a Python file. So you have written code like this, right? Now, what happens in the background, guys, that your Python or your code, which is written in Python, is translated into binary code. See, you are here, you have written the code. Now your machine understands only binary language. So what happens is this code is basically translated into machine readable format. Right? we have a translator in between. Okay, it's converted into bytecode. Okay, or we call it machine code, which machine can read, right? Okay, so you have translator. Now, this translator is not only for Python. This translator is almost for every language. Okay, now I'll give an example. You can compare it with us, right? Say that I can only speak Hindi, right? For example, and I can only speak and understand Hindi, and you guys can only speak and understand English, right? Now, if I want to communicate with you, how I'm going to communicate with you? Okay, see, I'm just changing the perspective here, guys. So the way that I'm going to communicate with you is I'll be needing a translator in between, or we both will be needing a translator in between. So I'll be speaking in Hindi, translator will listen to me, and translator will convert it into English, and you will understand what I'm speaking. Similarly, you who only knows English will speak in English to translator, translator will listen to it, and translator will convert it into Hindi. Right? So that is how we are going to have to and fro communication. Right, guys? That is what your translator does. Similarly, in machines also, in programming languages also, irrespective of what programming language you are using. Okay, I'm going to write another, draw another thing here. Irrespective of what programming language you are using, right? It could be any programming language. It could be Java, it could be C, it could be Python. Irrespective of the programming language, right? The code that you write is what we call source code, right? And it has to be converted into machine code or byte code, right? You call it machine code or byte code. It depends, right? On language to language, what are you going to call it? Okay. We will not go into the difference between machine code and byte code. Let's consider it same for our task, right? Okay, right. So your language, your code written in Java or C is supposed to be converted into zeros and ones because your computers understand zeros and ones. Now, guys, come back to the example where I am speaking Hindi. Right now, we need a translator in between, right? You understand that. Similarly, your computer also need a translator in between. Now compare this with you and me communicating, right? So there's me, I'm speaking, say, a complete sentence, right? Say that, okay, there are two ways in which translator can convert, right? Me, I'm speaking complete sentence. My translator listens to this complete sentence and it translates these complete sentences at once, right? This is you. Okay, so I'm speaking, say I want to say something, I'm speaking, I've spoken everything, complete paragraph, for example. My translator will listen to the complete paragraph and then it is going to translate that complete paragraph into English for you. Such kind of translator who is translating the complete paragraph is what we call compiler. Okay, the same thing if it is performed in programming language is what we call compiler. Okay, so a compiler is a type of a translator who listens to or who receives all the code at once and converts all that code into the machine code at once. Is what we call compiler. Same as I'm speaking a complete paragraph in Hindi, my translator converts, wait for me to complete my complete paragraph, then converts that complete paragraph into from Hindi to English. Right? That is what compiler does. Okay. So you have compiler-based languages, or you call it compiled languages, right? And these languages are majorly, you must have heard about Java. Java is a compiler-based languages. Now you have a task, guys. please find out more languages who are compiler based languages, right? Okay, take it as a task. So that is one of the type of language that you can call. Then now imagine a scenario that I'm speaking one word and my translator is translating that word right and there itself. Okay, I've spoken one word in Hindi, translated that word at that particular moment into English, right? So when your translator is translating each and every word at a time, then such kind of translator is what we call interpreter. Okay, so you have interpreter based languages. An example of interpreter based language is Python. So your Python, guys, is a interpreted or interpreter based language. Okay. Okay. So say I want to communicate with you, Dhamesh, and you can only understand and speak English. You can only understand and speak Hindi, and we have a translator in between. Now, this translator can do two things or can behave in two ways. One, it can listen to my complete paragraph that I am saying, which is in Hindi, and then it can translate that complete paragraph into English for you, right? Such kind of translation or such kind of translator is what we call compiler, right? Okay, now compiler in programming languages, what it does is you write your complete code, 50, 100 lines. So your compiler will take that complete code, and this complete code, it will convert it into machine code for your machine to understand, right? That is what we call compiler or compiler based language. Okay, example Java. So your Java works like this. In Java, you write your code, your complete code gets converted into machine code, right? That is how your Java basically works. Next is example of your translator, is that instead of your translator having patience and waiting for you to complete your paragraph, your translator is translating each and every word that I'm speaking from Hindi to English at that particular moment. Say, for example, I spoke something in Hindi, one word, translator will at that moment only convert it into English for you, right? So such kind of translator who is converting each and every word at that moment only is called interpreter, right? So Python is the example of interpreter based language. Understood? So basically, normally you can divide languages all over the world on the basis of, is it compiler based language or is it interpreter based language? And there's one more type which is called assembler, but we don't need to understand that. Majorly, you have compiler based languages or interpreter based language. So when you are in college, when you're basically we tend to learn more and more of compiler based languages, right? Okay, so the language that we are going to learn, Python, is an interpreter or interpreted language. Understood, guys? Okay, kindly go through this once again. Yes, Milind, there is a difference between compiler and interpreter. Okay, I'll tell you that. Technicalities, I'll tell you. Yes, Sagar. See, you can define that, right? Okay, Python acts as an interpreter, right? Word by word or line by line, statement by statement. Yes, basically, statement by statement is the right thing. Yes, it changes a lot of things. Okay, guys. one of the example. Okay, Bilan is asking for the example between compiler and interpreter. Okay, I'll give an example. Okay, so, for those who does not have much of the knowledge of programming language, they can ignore this. Right? The example is, guys, say for example in Java. Okay, no worries, no worries. You can watch the session, right? Okay, Venetia. So in Java, what happens is what your compiler-based language does is you've written code in .java. Okay, that is basically what we call source code. Got it? So your source code, complete source code, is converted into dot class, basically, which is your uh, bytecode, right? And apart from that, this code is basically what happens is this is a compiler-based example, right? It creates, see what it does is since it is converting your complete code into byte code, right? It also converts or creates an executable for you. So next time when you run it, you don't have to compile it again, right? Okay, it's just executing the old your uh, compiled file only, right? This byte code which is already being compiled is executing this only. Now this saves you a lot of time, right? Okay, because again you don't have to compile it, you don't have to convert it again and again. Now this does not happen in your interpreter based language. For example, in Python, when you write your code, that is .py, right? It's converted into your compile code like .pyc, right? Okay. Now here, what happens is it does not save it as an executable. So every time when you're running the code, it is creating the executable and then it is executing it, right? So it takes time, right? So that is why in most of the cases you'll hear the notion that your interpreter based language are slower than your compile or compiler based languages, right? So that is one of the example. Okay, so that is true, guys, that your interpreter based languages are slower than your compiler based language. Now tell me, can you tell me which is the fastest language that you are aware about? See, you must be thinking that, okay, if Python is an interpreter based language and Python is slow, right, then why are we learning Python? Why should not I learn C, C++, Java, which are faster than Python? Oh, forget about Java. C, for example, okay, tell me, C is a compiler based language or interpreter based language? Okay, Dave is saying compiler. Are you sure, guys? Okay, search it. It's basically a compiled language or compiler based language, right? C. Yes. Okay. So when you talk about the fastest language, you have C, right? C is the fastest language that you have, right? When you talk about the performance, right? Optimization is an issue. Otherwise, it's very fast, right? Okay. Now, why not C then? Why Python is becoming so much popular, right? Why not we are making C more popular? Why not this is the case? Okay, I'll tell you. I'll give you an example. Okay, the scenario is okay. Let's see a scenario that you have a Lamborghini, right? Okay, right? Lamborghini, any model of Lamborghini. Lamborghinis are way too fast, right? Okay, and your Lamborghini is going to. You can only drive Lamborghini when you are in a place where you don't have traffic, right? Where it's a place that you don't have pothole, right? Can you imagine driving or enjoying or having a proper ride in Lamborghini in say Mumbai? Right? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine riding a Lamborghini in Mumbai? A lot of places in Mumbai actually. right? Or driving Lamborghini in a place where you have a lot of traffic. It does not make sense, right? Why? Because the supporting environment is not there, right? So your C is of course kind of a Lamborghini. Okay, I'm not sure about the spelling. Right now, C is fast, but what about the supporting environment that is provided to C? What about the other entities through which C is interacting? Are they fast? No, they are not. So that does not make sense, right? Now, if you talk about Python, Python is like your hatchback, right? It's like your hatchback, which can easily, it's not too fast, right? It's not fast at all, but it is quite adaptable and suitable to the environment in which it is working, whether you're talking about potholes, whether you're talking about traffic. You can easily maneuver it, you can easily maintain it, you can easily manage it, right? Now, in the environment where you have a lot of traffic, where you don't have a suitable ecosystem, right? Okay, in there using C does not make sense. In there using Python makes sense. Why? Because Python is quite flexible, and Python, with the help of Python, you can create that complete environment, right? Okay, that is why Python has gained a lot of popularity. Okay, and apart from that, ease of use of Python and a lot of different things that I'll explain you later on in this today's lecture only. Understood why we don't use C in most of the cases? Because apart from that, coding on C is an issue, right? Optimizing code that is developed in C is a bigger issue, right? There's a lot of issue in C, and that's why we don't find a lot of very good programmers in C also, because it's not easy, right? Especially handling all these things. Apart from that, if you're going for multi-core processing, then multi-threading and threading is another issue in C, right? Okay, so these are the reasons that we prefer Python, which is slower, but it's supported by the surrounding environments. Okay, whether you talk about networking, whether you talk about new age technologies, everywhere you'll find Python because of this. Okay, understood, guys? Now, there's one more factor on the basis of which you define languages, and you'll understand Python from this perspective also, right? Okay, so there's one end. Okay, there's a huge line. Suppose on one end is us. Okay, us as in we all. On the other end, you have machine. Okay, see, I'm giving you a perspective. You can understand Python from this and all the languages actually, right? Now, these are the, this is a scale, okay, which is from left is comfortable or our understandability, on the right is machine understandability. So you have a programming language, right, which is more toward machine, or you have programming language which is more toward us as a human, or we have programming language which is more toward or in between. So the programming language which is more toward humans or us is what we call high level programming language. Okay, that means that the writing is more and more in English, right? Example is your Python. Python is high level programming language. And the language which is more toward your machine is what we call low level programming language. That means that it is more and more toward binary, zeros and ones, and more toward all those things. Right? Now, I want you to find out the example of low level programming language. And then you have mid level programming language, which is neither too much near to human nor too much near to machine. Okay. So your Python is interpreted language, or you can simply now you can define Python. Python is high level interpreted language. Okay, that is something that you can call now. Okay, any problem understanding this, that Python is high level interpreted language? Now you understand why high level, because it is closer to us, closer to me speaking to you, right, in English. Okay, that is why high level and very far from machine language. Right? Interpreted because it is converting your whatever you're writing one word or one statement or one statement at a time instead of the complete your packet. Okay, understood? Any query here, guys? Please let me know. So your task is finding what are mid-level languages, what are low-level languages, what are examples of compiled languages, what are examples of your uh, interpreted language. Let me write down that task. Low level, mid level, high level, compiled and interpreted languages. Okay, find out about all these things. Okay, examples. Take it as a task, guys, and we will discuss this first thing tomorrow morning. Okay, understood? I think this is what I have explained in the coming slides. Yeah, you can see that. Uh, translate a program written in high language is called a source code. To convert the source code into machine code, we use translator, detect and report error during translation. Okay, that is something that we are going to see while you're coding. Zoro translator, translating the high-level language program input into an equivalent machine level language program. Providing diagnostic message wherever the programmer violates specification of high-level programming language. Now, these are all fancy terms, guys. That do not mean much, right? Okay. Okay. There's one of these is a presentation, right, that you can use, right? So normally the translators, guys, are used for converting high-level languages. Why? Because these high-level languages are nowhere near your machine language, right? Okay, so that's why we use translators. So it is not that difficult to convert mid-level or low-level language into machine language, but it's very much difficult to convert high-level into machine language, right? Because it is more toward us and furthest to from machine, right? So that's why when you talk about translator, we compare it with high-level languages. Okay, now one is your compiler. So you write your code, then you pass it through a compiler, and then it gets converted into an executable. Right. Apart from that, it also generates a report. Right. Any error. See, for example, if you do a grammar mistake while speaking, then you have a lot of grammar Nazis, right? Your friend will tell you that okay, you did some grammar mistake, right? Similarly, uh, they also do this. Yes, Saga, you'll get these PPTs. These PPTs will be uploaded on LMS. Because everything that I'm teaching you, the paint images, the notepad file, and these PPTs, and the code that we'll be doing will be uploaded on LMS. Right. So the compiler is going to generate these things: executable and error report, if there is any. Interpreter will do the same thing, right? Okay, it's going to generate the error report. uh, Output, see, you can see that here the output is executable, here the output is temporary, it's not executable. Okay, and again they are both going to generate the error report. Okay, okay, so, let's have a break. Okay, and then after that I'm going to explain you a few of the things, and we'll talk about Python, why Python, where Python, how Python. Okay, okay, let's have a break. So normally we have break after 1 hour 25 minutes or 15 minutes, right? And then we continue the session. Okay, so it's a break. You can all have your breakfast, or you can have a break of 15 minutes. Okay, it's a break, guys, and we'll continue from here after 15 minutes. Yeah, can you see the timer, guys? It's a countdown. 1-5. See, you can see on your screen now. As soon as 14 minutes and 30 seconds gets over. Okay, wait, guys. uh, you might get confused with this. Okay, let me open a better one. As soon as this time gets over, guys, our break is over. Okay, now this is a better window. Okay. Okay, guys, I hope all of you are back. So there are a few of the programming language that are where they are used. Right. So your Python, Java, C Sharp, Objective C, C++, Perl are used everywhere, nearly for everything. JavaScript is used for web development. C is used for system programming. Java, C++ are mostly used in enterprise scenarios. Windows for window-based programming, you have C Sharp. For databases, you have SQL. For Linux, you have Ruby, Perl, Python. Right. Uh, for theoretical concepts, right, you have Python and Julia. For concurrency, you have Go, Erlang, Golang. Right. Okay. These are new language, right? Go and Erlang. For system software, you have C, C++. For game development, you have C++ and uh, what do you call it? C Sharp. Uh, for Apple-based software development, you have Swift, Objective-C. For data science, you have R and Python. Right. So these are the major languages and where they are used. Okay. So if you get any confused where are these language used, you can use this. Let's talk about Python. Right. So what is basically Python? As you all must know that Python is a programming language, right? Okay. Now there are a few more things that you know that program Python is a high-level interpreted programming language. Right. Now there are a few of the things or few of the qualities of Python is that one, it is open source. Right. Okay. You can use it in any way you want. Right. Okay. That is something that you can do. So it is open source programming language, okay, whose major emphasis on simplicity and productivity. It's simple to write and it's highly productive. Okay, okay. We'll see more about Python as we proceed. More things you're going to learn about Python now. Python was conceived in 1989 by a person which is most famous in machine learning, Python or R programming. Okay, so we have a query by Dave, which is more famous in machine learning. Can you tell me? Okay, now, so when you talk about, Python, guys, is the only language which was able to cope up with the advancement in the technology, right? The way the technology and everything around us is advancing in terms of technology, new things coming up, AR, VR, mixed reality, machine learning, data science, artificial intelligence, DevOps, all those things coming up. Python is the only language which was able to cope up and stay up with it. Right. Now, when you talk about machine learning, right, what are the options that you have in machine learning? Okay, what are the options from coding perspective in machine learning? Can you tell me what are the top languages that are used in machine learning? Okay, you can use Java and machine learning, guys. You can use R, you can use Python, you can use C, C++. You can even use Julia, right? Okay, so these are the languages that you can use in machine learning tasks. Okay, let me write it down. So for machine learning, I can use Java, R, Python, C, C++, Julia. Right. Now, Java, C, C++, Julia are not the preferred one that we use in machine learning. Mostly the fight is between R and Python. And If you had asked me this question 3 years back, okay, which is the language I should go for machine learning, 4 years back, I would have suggested you R. But now Python has gone a bit further than R. It has gone beyond R actually, right? So now, if you ask me what language for machine learning, you'll see Python. So if you open any of a job portal, if you search for any of a posting for machine learning, everybody's asking for majorly for Python. And if R, that is good, right? So yes, Python is the go-to-go language or go-to-go language for your machine learning, right? And the reason that Python is on top regarding machine learning is because it is quite easy to build libraries in Python. It's quite flexible, right? Coding is easy, learning it is easy, right? Implementing it easy, right? And that's how Python was able to stay up on machine learning race or win the machine learning race. Ramesh, kindly check your connectivity, right? Because if everybody would have faced the same issue, everybody would have complained, right? Okay, good. Now, so it was developed by Kudo and Rossum. So actually, this person, he was writing the language, the script for the language. At the same time, he was reading one of a very famous BBC sitcom comedy, which is Monty Python's Flying Circus. And this person wanted a name for this programming language, so he took this Python name from this sitcom series and named the language as Python. Right. So the first release was in 1991. Then you have Python 2.0 release, which was in 2000, and then Python 3 was released in December 2008. So we are going to work on Python 3. Okay, I'll tell you why Python 3, why not Python 2, or why Python 2. A lot of companies are working. Why not Python 3? Right, and then in Python 3, what are the different flavors? Now, why you should be learning Python, right? Now that is something that you should be aware about. You should have to have faith while learning. First thing first is Python is simple and beautiful, right? So writing code in Python is the simplest thing you can do as compared to any other programming language. Python is the easiest programming language of them all. Why? Because it is closer to us, right? It is high level programming language. Okay, and the code that you write in Python looks beautiful because the way it handles all the spaces and all, right? We'll see that. We call it indentation, right? The way it handles indentation is amazing, right? Next is Python is object oriented. That means that Python assumes everything in the world is as an object and treat everything as an object. Now, treating everything as an object has its own advantages, right? Okay, and a few of the advantages are the concepts of uh, your encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance, right? All these are the concepts of that, right? Object-oriented concepts. Then Python is free. It's free for everyone. You can download it, you can install it, and you can easily do a lot of things using Python without the any issue of licensing. Python is portable and is quite powerful. Portable means that, okay, what do you mean by Python is portable? So basically, you can run it on Windows OS, you can run it on Mac OS, you can run it on Linux OS. It's portable, right? Okay, yeah, yes, you can run it on any other platform basically. Like these are platforms, operating systems. It's powerful. Okay, we'll see all these things: dynamic typing, built-in types, tools, and libraries. So it's quite powerful. Apart from that, Python is one of the most popular language that we have. Right? It has a huge community which has huge support. So, guys, one more thing: whenever you get stuck anywhere in a programming language, where do you try to find out the solution? See, we many times we are not able to find out the solution, or we are not wanting to waste our time. So what we do is we open google.com and we try to find out the solution, right? Best places to find solutions are your Stack Overflow. You have there, you can post your query there. You have GitHub, right? And Python has its own community. You can find it on python.org, right? So you can find out, or you can solve your query or here. You can post your queries here, especially on Stack Overflow. Right? GitHub is where you can find a lot of resources related to Python, projects and implementations and different libraries. Python.org is the parent website of Python, which has support of a lot of different communities. So Python has a huge community, right? Now, what led Python to have a huge community is the ease of coding, right? And easy to understand, easy to write, easy to learn, right? Python is highly flexible. Now you can imagine the flexibility of Python uh, from the fields that it is covering, right? It covers almost all the fields that you have in your modern communication technologies. Okay, I'll tell you where Python is being used. Okay, after a few slides. Now, Python is beginner friendly. Now, Python is the language which is easiest to learn. It is the, uh, you can see that, narrowest learning graph, right? You can easily learn Python. That is what we are going to do. Scalable, it's highly scalable. Same thing you can apply on a single machine, that can be applied on a multiple machines, on a whole cluster servers. Data centers, a lot of data centers use Python. Apart from that, career opportunities, since it is used in a lot of different scenarios, it has created a lot of jobs. Actually, this thing started last year, actually, right? A lot of companies in USA, they started moving toward Python, right? They started implementing their complete project on Python. They started shifting it. Okay, I'll explain it to you, Dave. Right, I'll give an example for this. Okay, at right time. Okay. But understand this, that it is highly scalable. When I say scalable, say you create a prototype, right? We use Python for creating a prototype, guys. Okay, prototype is basically a sample or a working model. See, before we move into production phase, like you don't simply have an idea and you start mass producing it. No, what you do is you create a sample or a prototype. If that sample or prototype works properly, then you move to a production stage where you are producing it on a scale. When it talk about IT, then either you are providing, creating a service, or you are creating a product. Right now, Python is highly scalable. When I say highly scalable, the same thing which I applied on a small microcontroller, very small computer, the same functionality, you can scale it up on a big servers, on a lot of different machines, and without any much of issue. Right. So it is highly scalable. The same thing, you can scale it up, you can scale it down according to your needs, and you won't have to do much of the coding. Right. Okay. So that is one of the things that you can do with Python. Then career opportunities. Apart from that, Python supports all sort of development needs. Like you can do scripting, you can do web development, you can do data science analysis. Now, what do you mean by scripting? What do you mean by scripting, guys? Any idea? Script to create a build environment. Okay. Okay, I'll tell you that Python is a script language, and you can call it as a server-side script language, right? Python is a server-side script language. Okay, so when I say, see, the example of scripting language, see, we also have a language type which is called scripting language, right? Which we majorly use to automate our execution or task, or execution of task. So what we do is we define codes, right? I'll give an example of scripting. Okay, So your complete internet is based on client server architecture. Okay, understand this, guys. Your complete internet is based on client server architecture. You have different types of servers, and you have different types of clients. Now, servers are nothing, they are computers only. Like, servers are nothing, they are computers. Right? You must have heard about the, or if you're working in a company, or if you were in the college, right? When you were in the college, you must have seen the server rooms where which was properly locked. ACs were full on, right, blowing the cold air, right? And there you had a huge computers, and we used to call it server room. They actually was server room, and their task was to serve another computer. Right? So servers are computer who are open to serving another computer. I'll give you an example. Uh, uh, you go to a restaurant, you are sitting on your table, and a person comes and takes your order. And after taking your order, that person delivers you what you had ordered for. Say, for example, cold coffee. Right. So this person who is serving you is what we call server. Right. Okay. Similarly, in computer also you have servers. So the computer who serve another computer is what we call server. Right. Now, what are the services that they offer? For example, in restaurant, that person was serving you food. Now, on internet, you can have email-based servers, right, which is letting you send and receive the email, right? You have video streaming, right? For example, YouTube. For example, email servers are your Gmail, your Yahoo Mail. Video streaming are your YouTube, right? You have your Netflix, your Amazon Prime. Right? Okay. Apart from that, you have texting, like your WhatsApp, right? So these are the types of the server. Okay. And normally, all the websites are basically hosted on server. Okay. And then if these are the server, who are the clients? Clients are applications running on your mobile phone, smartphones, like your WhatsApp application, your Facebook application, your YouTube application, your browser, Google Chrome, which is also an application. These are your clients, right? Your apps running on your laptops, right? For example, this browser is the application which is running on my laptop, right? So these are your applications. Okay, these are your clients. Now, coming back to scripting, so what happens, see, if I open a browser, and inside browser I open google.com, and inside google.com if I search, say, a keyword rose, how does it work? Do you know this? How does it work, guys? It makes use of scripting language. I open google.com. Okay, it's birthday. And if I search for rose, okay, if I hit enter here, okay, it is returning me black. Okay, let's search something else. Let's search football. Okay, if I'm searching football, yeah. So what is it doing? It is returning you back basically a page. How is it happening? How such quickly it returned me back a response? The reason is that on this particular server, there is some code running, which is basically automating the task. And this is handled by, this is what we call scripting. And scripting languages are your Perl, you have PHP, you have Python. So basically what is it's doing? Browser is sending a request in HTTP format, and it is basically executing this code and this code is returning back an static HTML page. Right. So this process is handled by a scripting, a code that is automating this process is what we call scripting. Right. So basically, scripting automates your execution of task. The task is search results showing this. All these things are automated on the server. Understood? So normally scripting, we use it on the server side. Okay. After that, we use Python for scripting. We use Python for web development. Now, Python for web development is your Flask and Django, right? So you have option there also. If you want to explore your career, then you have Flask, right? Flask is a micro framework in Python, which is used for creating, you can see that, used for creating a web page. Okay, let me show you one of the example, like one of the code that was running. Uh, 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 how does it look like? Okay, just a sec. I'm going to pause my screen. I'm going to show you one of the use case, right, guys? Okay, that I was recently working on. You'll understand how Python is used for um web development. Okay, there's something that I developed recently. Which file I'm up new. Okay, I'm going to start command prompt. Just a sec, guys. Okay, can you see my screen? So this is how you execute a Python code. Okay, just a sec. I know what is hindering it. I actually need to disable it. Okay. Okay, I have to disable one thing, guys. Right. Just give me a sec. Kindly ignore this. Just set this off. Okay. So basically, this is how your Flask work. It works as a, it provides you a server, and I have to open this link. Right. So I'm using Flask to show a simple page, basically. See, so for example, okay, this is a code which is written in Python and Flask where I can search for a location. Say I'm going to search for Mumbai. Mumbai. Right. It's going to reload itself. Okay, the server, and I can simply refresh it. It's going to show me Mumbai. Right. Okay. So that is one of the example of how you can use a very simple example of how you can use the uh, Python for web development. Right. So this is the Flask which I've used here. Okay, for showing or rendering a HTML page. Okay, so you have Flask, which we can use for web development. Apart from Flask, you have one more thing that is called Django, which is another web-based framework, right? Okay, now you have these frameworks that you use for web development in Python. Now you'll see that there's a lot of demand of Django developers, a lot of demand of Python developers in the market, right? If you open your job portals, then you'll see that Django developers and Python developers are being given a very good pay packages, right? A lot of big companies require these developers. Okay. Okay. Now Python has also a big role in big data, right? Okay. Now big data. What do you mean by big data? See, guys, these are the things that see we are have this introductory lecture. Right, so I'm going to talk about all these things, but later on from the next lecture, we're simply going to talk about Python. That's all. What do you mean by big data? Anyone? Uh, your data becoming big. That is what we call big data, right? Okay, guys. Is there any confusion or is there any issue? I'm not getting any response from you all. Okay, let me tell you. Your data became big with the emergence of new age technologies like your smartphones, emergence of smartphones, with the emergence of cloud computing, with the emergence of social media, right? Not social media, social networking. A lot of people started getting connected to internet more and more, right? Now, what has happened? The volume of data flowing over the internet increased. Right. Earlier, only 5 people were sending WhatsApp messages, or 5 people were using internet. Now you have so many people using internet, and they are exchanging images. Right. On an average, a single person exchanges or sends 20 to 30 MB of image per day. Right. That is on average. You can imagine the total size. That is the volume of data which is flowing per day from your region. Right. So volume has increased like anything. Velocity, that means that the speed at which this data is flowing over the internet is tremendous. For example, we are continuously sending messages, we are continuously sending images, videos, whatnot. Right? It has increased like anything. Similarly, variety of data has gone up like anything. Over the internet, take an example of your WhatsApp only. You send images of different format, right? You can send an image which is PNG, JPEG, JPG. You can send any format of images. Similarly, you can send documents on WhatsApp, which are basically your PDF file, your Word file. You can send any such document. You have so many types of video format. You have so many types of audio format. So the variety of data has increased like anything. So these three V's have resulted into your data becoming big. Right. Now the technology which was used for handling this is what we call Hadoop. Right? That is for handling the big data, and it's built using Java. Right. So in big data, you'll find mostly Java. And apart from Hadoop, you have Spark also, right, which is also used here, in which we use Scala as a language. But nowadays, you will see a lot of implementation of this in Python with the help of PyDoop and PySpark, and in fact PyTorch also. Right. So that is what you can do in Python. So using Python, you can also handle big data. Okay. The code in Python is compact and it's quick to prototype. And it has a very vibrant community and an open source libraries. Now, the libraries in Python are more than 100,000. Okay. And these all are open source that you can use in your project. Okay. Now, where will you find Python? You can find Python in almost everywhere when you talk about the development or computer field. Uh, are these converter from Python to Scala? See, if you talk about PySpark, then yes, in a way, it provides you an interface. But normally you don't need that actually. Okay. Now, so where do you use Python? Right. So you can find Python in desktop-based application creation, your graphical user interface applications. Right. So you can create graphical user-based interface application using Python. Right. For example, this application like I'll tell you one of the few of the application which is quite famous. You have Blender, right, which is kind of a 3D modeling and animation website or tool, which is open source. Okay, and it is built using a lot of Python is used here, especially in the logic part and a lot of different parts. So do explore this. Apart from that, you have GIMP, which is a substitute of Photoshop. A lot of parts in GIMPs are built using Python, the major parts. These are your graphical user interface applications. You can download it on your desktop, laptop. Okay, and these are your image editing. Right. Apart from GIMP, you have Inkscape, basically your vector image creator. This is also built majorly in Python. So you can imagine the application which are built in Python. And the best thing about application which are built in Python, they are open source, right? They are not licensed under anything. You can do whatever you want to do with it. Unlike Photoshop, where you have to pay for using it, or Corel, you have to pay for using it. These does not have to be paid, right? Apart from that, you can use Python in web-based application creation or creating a web framework. The example of Django and Flask. You can, or Python is used in enterprise and business application. So your CRMs, your accountancy softwares can be built using Python. Your operating system comes with Python. So for example, you select your Mac OS or your Linux based OS. If you open their terminal and simply type Python, you'll see that they all have Python. Why? Because Python in Linux and Mac scenario, they basically handle the packaging and depackaging of what you're downloading, or they handle packaging and depackaging basically. That is one of the major tasks which is handled by Python. Right? Apart from that, Python is used big time in prototyping. So if you want to prototype, or if you're planning to create a product, software based or hardware based, right? And if you want to check if your idea is right or not, what you do is you create a prototype. So for that, you prefer using Python. Why? Because it takes very less time to create a prototype in Python. Right? Coding is easy and it takes less number of lines. Apart from that, finding errors is quite easy. Python is also used in game development. Right now, we don't use Python as in creation of the characters or creating the scenarios. No, the Python is used in game development from the perspective of physics engine, right? Or logical engine, which is basically how your logic is going to be handled. Your AI part, your machine learning part is handled by Python in the game, right? So you'll see a lot of games who are using Python for this task. I'm not remembering the name of the games which are being developed. Let me check. Uh, 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 uh. Yes, game in Python will be slow, right? But the logical part is handled by Python. Okay, I'm not able to recall the name of the game. Uh, uh, Games created. Not this one. So I'm talking about proper game which are played on Xbox or PS4. Uh, yeah, like for one of the example is Civilization. Right. Apart from that, Sims 4 uses Python a lot. Right. And a lot of other games also. World of Tanks uses Python. Nowadays, guys, almost every game is using Python for its logical functioning in the background, right? Okay. Not in the creation of the characters or scenarios or all those things, but the logical part. Okay. So you have a lot of scope of Python in game development. Apart from that, you have Python in image processing. Now, what do you mean by image processing? So normally for image processing, guys, we have been using Java a lot, right? Image processing or video processing, we have been using Java a lot, but slowly Python has also come up to the level of the libraries that is provided by Java or the functionalities that is provided by Java. Extract data from image and modify. Yes, you can see that. Okay, I'll give you a scenario, right? All of you at some point in our life we consume medicines, right? Now these are small tablets, very small, right? And we consume it and it makes us well after consumption of a tablet in around 20-25 minutes, right? For example, your discipline, right? How does this tablets work basically? They work on your cells level, right? Your cellular level, right? This is one of the tiniest level of human body, starting with humans, organ system, organ, tissue, then you have cell, right? So these medicine, they work on cell level, okay? So that is a big task, right, guys? If these medicines are going to work on cell level, and if anything goes wrong, then it can lead to very bad effects, right, on the human body. So how does these companies know that okay, the medicine that they are created is right or wrong, right? So they have two ways of doing it. One, image processing. After that, clinical trials. Okay, so there are two ways. Okay, so image processing comes first, then comes your clinical trials, right? Okay, so you might have heard about clinical trials, right? Now what happens in image processing is that they make these, actually they are integrated, you can say that, few stages of clinical trials and image processing. So basically clinical trials start with, depending on the company, it might start with the animals or apes which are closer to humans. Then it is being applied on humans, right? Okay, let's not divide humans further, but they do. Right? Let's not, we should not do that, right? Okay, so first trial of these medicines are done on humans and they are animals, and they are compared to see, excuse me, they're compared to see if there's any anomalies, any changes, and then after animals have passed it, they are being tried and tested on humans, starting from the Africa, then moving to the third world nations, moving to Asia, and then these are being launched in the market, right? That is how your clinical trials work. Now, when these are being tested, what these people do is they analyze the cells, right, under the obviously microscope. What they do is they click a lot of pictures or before and after in a way, right? We do that, right? Before and after they clicks a lot of pictures, and these pictures are microscopic picture, and that too of very very high definition, right? So each picture could be of 500 600 MB or even go to 1 GB, and they have a lot of such images. Okay, so these images could be in 100 or 200 terabytes of disk, right? Now, as a human, you cannot compare before and after in those images. So what they do is they write a code, and that code compares the before and after, and then you get the report that, okay, if there is anything positive change or negative change on the different parts of the cell. Right, and here for comparing this, automatic comparing this, we use Java, but nowadays we use Python a lot. That is your your image processing. Similarly, you have what you call video processing. Okay, then it is used for graphic design applications like your Blender. Then you can create scientific and computational applications. Right. Python is inherently scientific language, so you can use it for scientific and computational application creation. Apart from that, guys, it is used in data science, data analytics, machine learning, AI, deep learning, neural networks, GAN, all these things. Yes, Dave, it depends, right? You have image, then you don't need to keep it online, right? You can analyze it in any way you want. AI is artificial intelligence. No, no, not on the runtime. No, it's not has to be done on the runtime. AI is artificial intelligence, guys. Right? I forgot what I was going to show you. Okay, no worries. So basically, it is used in data science, data analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, your deep learning, your neural networks, your GAN, generative adversarial network, and all those new age technologies. You have Python everywhere. Machine motion. What do you mean by machine motion, Dhamesh? Okay, I didn't know that. So Python is also used in machine motion. Now, one place where Python is used a lot is in hacking, right? Ethical hacking, unethical hacking, any kind of hacking. Okay. Apart from that, in networking also you use Python, network-based applications. Apart from that, on server side or interacting with the servers, you use Python, right? Apart from that, in embedded systems, we use Python, right? But in embedded system, the Python that we use is not that much optimized for now, but still it is being used. That is what we call MicroPython. Or we have lightweight implementation of Python for microcontrollers, which is called MicroPython. You can explore this also, guys. It's quite interesting. You can see that it's compact enough to be executed on 256 KB of code space and 16 KB of RAM. Now, 16 KB of RAM is a higher side requirement from perspective of microcontroller. Okay, so most of your Arduinos won't support this, right? So that will be an issue. So if you want to try it out, I'll suggest you to go for Node MCU. It's going to cost you around 300 rupees, 350 rupees. Yeah, Node MCU. That is your ASP12E. If you want to try it out, MicroPython, you can use this. Okay, search for Node MCU, and it's going to cost you 340 rupees, and you can use it for coding on MicroPython. Okay, or you can go for PyBoard, which is by them. I'm not sure how much they are going to cost. Okay, yeah, PyBoard is of what 2800. That's too costly. Go with Node MCU if you want to practice MicroPython on embedded systems. Okay, because a lot of you are interested in embedded systems using my Python. Okay, now these are the names who are using Python a lot, like Quora, Discuss, Google, NASA, Pinterest, Instagram, Dropbox, Facebook, Yahoo, IBM, Mozilla, YouTube. So these are the big names who are using Python in their projects. For example, Google. Google search engine uses a lot of lines of codes of Python. Okay, this is one of the implementation, and all these companies are using Python. Okay, apart from this, one more thing is there, guys. you use we use Python in testing also, right? You can include Python for testing also. If you are a tester, either you are a manual tester or automated tester, automate tester or tester automation. Anybody who is tester in our group? So basically, your test case execution or creating test scripts, you use Python. Right? A lot of companies are asking for Python for testing uh, scenarios now. Right? Okay. Okay. One of the tool that is used for testing is Selenium, which uses a lot of Python. Okay. Search for it, guys. Selenium is web-based testing module, you can call it like that. So you can test your web application using Selenium. Right. Web browser test automation, basically. Okay, it's written in Java, but you can use it using Python also. Okay. Now, what is the future of Python? Okay, I should remove this line. Okay. Now, Python is a very popular language. Its popularity is increasing a lot. It is the only language which is able to evolve continuously with the advancement of the technology. Now, technology, when I talk about technology, what are the new technology that you might have heard about? You can count cloud computing, cloud DevOps, right? You can talk AR, VR, MR, you talk about IoT, you talk about digital transformation. All these technologies, which are very new technology, cloud computing is not that new, but it's almost every time in right now. These are the technology which uses Python a lot, right? Your IoT, your digital transformation, your DevOps, your augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, your cloud computing. Everywhere Python is used is quite popular, and it is the only language which is evolving, right? With the advancement of the technology. And you must have heard about Python version 2 and Python version 3, especially when you talk about this, right? Anaconda, you'll see that you have two variables, Python 3 and Python 2. So Python 2 was supposed to be, see what has happened was, Gudu Van is still alive. Okay, guys, the inventor of Python is still alive. Right. This is a person and he's alive and healthy, touch wood. Right. So what he wanted with the community, he wanted to dish out Python 2, and he wanted to stop all the support of Python 2 and wanted everybody to use Python 3 because there are a lot of issues with Python 2 which was solved in Python 3. But there was a big issue in there. Right. He wanted to completely stop the support of Python 2 in year 2012, 2013. But they were not able to do it. Why? Because of the big companies like YouTube and Google. These companies were still using Python 2 for a lot of projects, and porting it into Python 3 was a big hassle for them. Why? Because they had written millions and millions of lines of code in Python, and converting those Python 2 lines of code in Python 3 was not that easy. It's not that easy, right? So companies were still hiring people or were still demanding people with Python 2 skill set. So and community was quite active regarding because of this. So Gudu and Awesome had pushed the date of this or end date for Python 2, And finally, it was decided that Python 2 is going to be completely out in 2020. That means that Python.org is going to stop supporting Python 2 in the year 2020, right? And they are promoting Python 3 a lot. And we have Python 3 and Python 3.7.2 is what we have latest. Python 3 has still is launched, but still is under a lot of, you can say that beta testing phase, right? If I can grab it, or meanwhile, if the uh, language is out, we will see a few of the examples there. I'll tell you what is the difference. There's not much of a difference actually. There's only one difference where we are using a colon equal to sign, which is what we call walrus operator that is being used for assignment expression or assigning expression to a variable. Right? Okay, that is the only major difference. Otherwise, everything is same. Okay, Python has a lot of libraries for data science, which makes it quite suitable for the future. And a lot of better libraries which are coming up. And a lot of people are creating a lot of different libraries in Python, and it's very easy to create libraries in Python actually. Right? And Python is the only language which has a slow, consistent upward growth over the last 10 years. Otherwise, every other language is being down or is being stagnant. Python is ever growing. So which version you should be using, Python 2 or Python 3? You should be using Python 3, and we're going to use Python 3. Nowadays, if you see, I have trained a lot of companies on Python. Nobody asks for Python 2, especially from the fourth quarter of last year. No one is asking to learn Python 2. Everybody is going for Python 3. Now, any of a flavor. Normally, Python 3.7 is what they ask for. Okay, so Python 3 is the present. In a lot of the cases, yes, Python 3 is backward compatible. Okay, but in some cases it's not. Few of the things is not, but otherwise yes, it is backward compatible. Backward compatible in Python 3 only. 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.5, 3.6. Not in Python 2. Right? Python 2 and Python 3 are different. For example, you cannot have backward compatibility here. In Python 2, if you want to print something, so print is considered as written like this, which is a statement. In Python 3, print becomes a function. Right, so this is the major change actually between Python 2 and Python 3. Okay, print in Python 2 is a statement, print in Python 3 is a function. Okay, now there is a simple case study to tell you the uh, uh, importance of Python. So there is a IT company, right? Let's call it New Technologies, and it works on these fields. They are more than that, but majorly print. Majorly print is the difference between Python 2 and Python 3. Apart from that, the libraries that you're using. So basically, print is the mostly used function or statement in Python. So it changes everything actually. Apart from that, the libraries that you're using, they have to be different than Python 2. So all these creators, they have to recreate all the libraries. They are around 100,000 libraries, right? Okay, that had to be recreated. Apart from that, the packaging was different, debugging was different, right? Okay, but for us, what we are doing right now, the only major difference in Python 2 and Python 3 is print. Otherwise, everything is almost same. Okay, so there's a company who provides solution on big data, analytics, scripting, web development, and algorithm development. Right. So that is the background of the company. The problem is, or the challenge that they are facing is, they want to run a real-time interactive data exploration and building. Right. So basically, if you look at these things, right, big data, analytics, scripting, web development, and algorithm, what they are doing is they are the company who is data mining or going through the big data. They are performing analytics on the big data, and they are showing the outcome or result as a visualization of graph on their website in a form of a dashboard, right? That is what this company is doing. And apart from that, they're creating their own algorithm for doing these big data analysis task, right? So this company is taking data or finding out gold from the big data or important data from the big data, performing analytics on that, then showing it on a website. Okay. So the challenge that they are facing is that they have to run a real-time interactive data exploration and building. Say for example, me as a user, I open their website and I want to do that. Okay, let's compare 10 years data. So that is a real-time data exploration, right? So these are the things that I should be able to do on this website. So this is one of the issue or challenge that they have. Apart from that, build web applications for accessing the dashboard and analytics easily. Okay. Third, they have a lot of code in C and Java. They want to reuse those codes. They don't want to throw it away. Right? They want to be reuse those codes. And lastly, they want to develop a big data solution on Hadoop and Spark. Right. So ideally, this company should be hiring people with C skill set, developer, Java developer. They should be hiring a person who is Java developer who has experience on Hadoop. Right. They should be hiring a person who is the data analyst. Right. They should be hiring a person who is data scientist. They should be hiring a person who is into web development. They should be hiring a person who is into databases. So ideally, they should be hiring these people of different fields and languages. So what they did was they solved all this issue by using Python only. Okay, so everything can be solved using Python, and that is what has happened in the last year in USA. Right, everything started from USA, it moved to India. Right, every company they started shifting their complete team toward Python. Now that does not mean that they fired their old team. No, no, no. They asked them to reskill, right, by getting trained or by providing training to them or by letting them have a time to learn and do R&D, right? And then they ask them to do all these things, right? So you can see that how Python adds value. Now the best thing is that if everybody is working in the same language, then it's quite easy to manage the team and it's quite easy to have interaction with the people within the team, and everybody is able to contribute in some way or another, right? So that is the plus side of using Python. Okay, any queries here? Any queries, guys? Nope. Okay. So these are the IDEs that you have in Python: ideally, Spider, Jupyter, PyCharm. Right? These four we have seen. Then you have Thorny, Atom. You have so many different IDEs. Okay, I'm going to explain you write modes uh, after we have downloaded and installed the Python interpreter. Yes, Kuntal, Spider will come with it. Your Jupyter will come with it, right? Okay. So guys, that will be all for today. Right now, I'm going to tell you what you have to download and install. Okay. So guys, I'll suggest you to go with this. Okay. Okay, this is, I think, for Mac. You have to select the right flavor. Okay, make sure that you're selecting the right flavor. Simply save it. Okay, and simply install it. Do it today only. Yes, you have 32-bit graphical installer. See here, Windows 32-bit graphical installer. Okay, do check your system type. Go to this PC or my computer. Right click on this. Go to properties. No, no, Anaconda will be more than enough, Dave. Okay, on your system properties. Okay, so you have to right click on your computer. Okay, guys, what you need to do is do something like this. Go to this PC or my computer. Right click on this computer. click on right click, and then this will open. Click on properties and check if your system is system type is what, 32-bit, 64-bit. See, mine is 64-bit, so I'll select accordingly. So I've selected 64-bit graphical installer, and that is what I'm doing here. 64-bit graphical installer. Okay, kindly do that. That is what is required. So guys, download it today and click it for installation, and just follow what is it saying. You don't have to do anything extra. And do notice the location where it is asking you to install. Okay, do find out that location. Okay, let me check if I have Anaconda. Yeah, I have Anaconda. See how it's going to look like. Let me show you. If you have downloaded it and installed it, it's going to look like this. It's going to take time to open. Okay, Milind, I'm saying that when you download and install it, this is how it's going to start. Okay, Dinesh, what is your operating system? Which operating system you're working on? You have to click here, Dinesh. Okay, you have to click like this here. It's still getting started. See, you can use okay, with the help of Anaconda, I'll be able to explain you with the help how you can use it in uh, using command prompt also. Right. Okay, see, that is how it's going to look like, guys. Okay, and you have Jupyter Lab. You don't have to work with this notebook. We might Spider is something that you want to work with. We'll be needing to launch this, and we're going to work on this from tomorrow. Okay. So kindly download it and install it. It's simple clicks, nothing else you have to do. Okay, just go with the default settings. That's it. Okay, guys. And guys, if you're not able to do this, I'll show you both, Dave, Spider and Jupyter also. I'll show you, in fact, ideally also and PyCharm also. See, these are just the editors, right? The main thing is the language. You can use it anywhere, right? You can use it on a notepad. You can use it on any of a fancy editor. So guys, if you are not able to install this, you face any error, I want you to at least come with this, right? So here, open this site and click on download 3.7.3, right? And get this too, right? So I'll suggest you that everybody that you guys also download this. If not install, at least download this. Okay. So these three two things you should do. Okay, let me write it down. So what we need is and install Anaconda or Python from python.org. Only download Python from python.org, but download and install Anaconda. Okay, so these are the two things that you have to do. Anyways, do this. See, it will ask you like this: allow access. Simply, you have to allow the access. This is how your spider is going to look like. Right, mine is 3.7.1 spider. It's an older one a bit. Right, your will be 3.7.2 or 3.7.3. Okay, so guys, this is what we want as a window. Got it? So please come with this, and we'll continue from here in the next lecture. Okay, guys. Please be here at sharp 8 in the morning, guys, IST. Okay. So starting 5 minutes will be for queries, and we'll start with session at 8:05. Okay, guys? Yes, please, Steve. Is this Python session? Not at all, Dave. It's not inclined toward machine learning AI. It is more inclined toward task automation, scripting, log files reading and creation. Yes, Milind, you will be able to watch and listen to this with the LMS access. NumPy, SciPy, I can give you an example, but we are not going to dive deep into it. See, guys, I can give you an example on these things, right? But our intention is not to learn how to work on modules. Our intention is how to automate the task, right? Which is helpful in almost all the fields. Right? But I'll show you how to use the libraries. Okay. Okay. So one of the part which is basically your modules. I'll show you these modules. Okay. Okay, guys. That will be all for today. Signing off now. Have a good day. Bye bye.